Hello. Welcome to Fireside Chat with me, Isaac Childres, creator of Gloomhaven and Gloomhaven RPG and all that fun stuff. Happy you're here. Happy to have everybody hanging around the fire, just chatting, just having a good time, being real low key, real mellow. Um, yeah, it's been a good weekend, I think. Um, yeah, still approaching the 2.5 million mark. So that's fun. It's fun to watch that go up. Um, yeah, well, we had a lot of exciting stuff going on over the weekend. So I can just recap for you real quick. Right, we had the gameplay, the RPG gameplay with from what? Yeah, from Canada. What's the GameCon Canada? That's the name of the convention. I remembered. Um, yeah, that was real fun. That was a little nerve wracking, just because I wasn't there. Nobody from Cephalofair was there to kind of like make sure they followed the rules, but I think it went well anyway, and certainly entertaining. Then we had we had a um, Gloomhaven 2 playthrough also on Saturday that went pretty well. And then we were supposed to have another one on Sunday, but Steam decided to like crash on us. So we weren't able to get the tabletop simulator module loaded up for the Brothers Murph. And we were all kind of in a panic and decided just to play some Gloomhaven Digital. And that was interesting. If if you watched, um, I made the classic noob spellweaver mistake, which was very funny and embarrassing. We were playing like scenario one because again, like Steam, like their whole like API crashed or something, so like you couldn't load saved games or anything. And so we were just like starting a new campaign. So we're playing scenario one, and I'm like, it's scenario one. I'm the spellweaver. I'm just gonna like, throw my big things out there. I'll like ride the wind and do some fire orbs and whatnot. And then I do my first short rest, and I pull up a card, and it's like, I want to keep that card. I think I'll, mulligan. And then of course, the second card I pull up is reviving ether, and I was like, oh wow, that was real dumb, real unintelligent. Um, so yeah, that was pretty embarrassing, and now I'm sharing it with all of you as well. Yeah, just it was just kind of funny. Like I was like a noob spellweaver playing scenario one and then just making the classic mistake. So I exhausted that scenario, but we did finish it, just barely. Spoiler warning. And then we went on to scenario two and had a good time with that too. So I think that's worth checking out, just if you want to see me, get all red faced and be like, oh wow, I'm I'm the creator of this game and I don't know how to play it. Anyway, yesterday was super exciting too, because we got the Penny Arcade playthrough of the RPG that I participated in, along with Alexander from Satire, who's done a lot of the lore for the game, and then of course like people from Penny Arcade. And I think I thought the game went really well, and I think it because both I and Alexander were very familiar with the rules. Like it's a very good display of how the rules of the game work, while also being like highly entertaining because we've also got Jerry there being Jerry. And I would recommend checking that out too. It was so much fun. Like I know we played with Penny Arcade for the big RPG announcement at PAX Unplugged. But that was like an hour long, and it was kind of like on a big stage, and I don't know, I was like super nervous, and it was just like a different atmosphere. This was just like I get to hang out with Penny Arcade and play an RPG with them that I made, and they all just had a great time, and it was just a real fun experience. Um, yeah, and then we also had a Gloomhaven 2 play with Good Time Society, which was another thing we had pre-recorded, and That I thought that one really well too. So on the day we filmed that, we did the RPG play first, which I think is coming next week. So that'll be fun to see as well. And then we rolled into the the play of Gloomhaven 2. And I feel like out of all the Gloomhaven second edition plays that you'll see throughout this campaign, I feel like that one was kind of like the most thematic, just because we were kind of like in a role play mood. Even though it was a different cast, it was still like, I don't know, had the same energy. And so that was a lot of fun. It was a pretty easy scenario, but that allowed us to just kind of sit back and have more fun with it, which I thought was real fun. Yeah, I'm just saying fun a lot, but I think that's the goal here, right? Is just to have fun. Anyway, so while I was having fun over the weekends watching all that stuff and keep my eye on the campaign, a lot of cool people were out at Origins having lots of fun too. So yeah, without further ado, I think I want to just bring everybody on and just have a big chat about kind of what went down with Cephalofair at Origins. So we have with us today Alessandra Livingston from Rage Badger Gaming, who kind of ran a lot of the RPG sessions at Origins and maybe some other stuff. We've got Monica Paprocki, who's kind of like the Cephalofair cosplayer. We bring her out to as many shows as we can to just get people in the Frosthaven, Gloomhaven mood with her awesome cosplays. And then we've got Bill Paprocki, who I don't know what your like official title is, like Monica's handler, her bodyguard.
The fixer sometimes when you guys need something.
Yeah.
Fixer, RPG runner, jack of all trades, really.
Oh yeah, he was also running RPG games for us as well. And then we have Chris, the booth manager, who just keeps everything running at conventions.
Yeah, Chris.
And, is always the star of the show.
Hiding in the background.
So, oh, sorry.
I said hiding in the background.
Hiding in the background, but also being the star. So yeah, I don't know where we want to start. Just how was everyone's Origins?
It was a lot of fun.
Busy.
It was very hot.
Busy. It was great. Talking to some of the staff for Origins, they said that ticket sales on Friday were higher than they've ever been. So nice. I've not heard the final attendance, but apparently attendance was very, very good. People were begging to play the RPG. We had to actually rearrange and beg some people, like, Will, to come run the RPG for us. We could do an extra table of the RPG. People were really, really enjoying it. Had a lot of good feedback from that. Everybody loved the seamless transition from skill checks right into combat and vice versa.
Yeah.
Also, a lot of good feedback on the second edition characters. We had the starting 6 available to play as well. And anybody who played those were like, hey, this character got changed a lot and it's much better. Like, I really like this character. Like, I didn't really like Tinkerer before, but now Tinkerer is really, really cool. Hey, the Mind Thief. I know, I feel you. But Mind Thief has more than one good augment now. And so it's just stuff like that. So a lot of praise for that. And some people commenting, oh, I didn't realize all these, how much was actually changing. So a lot of good feedback on those kinds of things as well.
So there's definitely something pretty different about like spending 16 hours in a weekend running just like Frosthaven demos versus 16 hours running an RPG. It's notably more exhausting, but it's so amazing how many of those groups were just they're all phenomenal, and seeing everyone light up, like, because sometimes you run a demo and there's a couple people who just really get into it. I swear every group was just a phenomenal group. They all started to get into it. It had just a different atmosphere, and it was just really wonderful to see, like, so many people get into this. And there were some people who were like, I've played Gloomhaven, but I've never like role played before. And seeing some people like try to get into character, like, can I do this? Like thinking that you're combined by like the rules and the cards, and saying, yeah, you can. Go ahead, draw this for me, and seeing them light up. Oh, it was such a wonderful experience. Just watching everyone get so into it.
Yeah, I definitely agree, Alice. Like it got a little boisterous at times. People were really getting into the characters. I think people kind of liked the idea of experimenting with new characters. Like the Vermling Sunkeeper was always a blast in the group. He's got an ability where he's like shows off his muscles, and then he gets an ability, or he gets a bonus to athletics checks, right? And people were always like hamming that up. It really, yeah. I think it was definitely a different feel from running like the tactical combat. Typically you do in Gloomhaven. People were just having like more fun with it, joking around more, I'd say.
Yeah.
More than once, I heard somebody yelling out because they were playing a Quattro Berserker and going into a rage.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, got a lot of that.
Yeah, so it's interesting. So you say that you got quite a few people who hadn't really ever played an RPG before.
Yeah,
I think I don't know. There's any mechanisms like inherent in the system that helps like new RPG players come in and actually be able to like have fun with it and get into it?
I think they know the rules if they're coming from Gloomhaven. That helps.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was definitely having the backgrounds and the skills be thematic. Yeah. Definitely helps people lean into their characters, especially somebody who is not a creative, not good at writing a full background. Having those abilities to have names on them really help tie it in. Like, oh, okay, I'm best friends with this person. Oh, cool. Then we can team up and do these fun things, kind of thing. We actually did a play test on Tuesday night just to make sure everybody felt comfortable running the RPG, and several of us were and had jam band, and so frequently we're oh, that's our new band name. That's our new band name.
Yes.
We had like eight band names
at least. Our Quattro Tinkerer, our Quattro Berserker decided that her axes were also drumsticks because you turn them around and then they're just flat on the one side. So those are drumsticks.
I got to hear some of the band names now.
Oh my gosh. Do you guys remember any of them? My memory's terrible. Oh. We should have written them down.
Yeah, I was totally thinking. I thought, after the second one, I was like, third. I was like, I swear by like the fifth one, I'm like, we really should be taking notes.
Gooey Black Sludge was one of them.
Oh.
The thing I remember the most was saying about how she was not allowed to throw her drumsticks into the crowd anymore after that one incident.
The incident, yes.
Makes sense. The other side is an axe.
Yeah. Not very careful that time, so she's no longer allowed to do that. Lawsuits were involved.
Yeah. Do you want to talk a little bit about what the demo scenario was? Like, general plot lines?
Oh yeah. So the general gist is you're at the Eternal Eye tavern, and there's this young Valrath Nerat who is seemingly putting up an easy job there. And she's really just looking for someone to confirm the whereabouts or well-being of her mother. But investigating her mother, who is a mercenary, you find out that she's part of this mercenary group called the Seventh Chain. And they had recently gone into the Dagger Forest and had a very unfortunate venture where only Jahada, Nerat's mother, returned alive, and the other few passed away. And evidently the influence of those dark creatures in the Dagger Forest, Jahada brought with her, and I guess the whole hideout becomes effectively infused with the wild energy from the forest, or from some force I don't think we really explain. And I think that's also good, because leaving some parts of mystery, I think, is just kind of part of it. But trying to match to break the runes to get access to the other world where she has been surrounding herself by the coffins, some sort of ritual of her friends, and trying to break that spell so she comes to her senses and no longer bars herself up back in the headquarters, now filled with very dark magic, with all sorts of fun stuff. Although we weren't able to fit in like the whole adventure, because it's actually it's really well in depth, and there's a lot of puzzles and stuff, but we kind of proned it down to hit the same story beats of like unlocking the runes, exploring a place, having to do all of these skill checks, I said roll like 75 times that weekend, but just eventually just getting in there to Jahada, and ultimately it got reactions every time. And the fact like almost the first enemy everyone saw was oozes, got a reaction. People hate oozes.
Love to hate them though.
Yeah.
So yeah, Bill, what was your favorite part of, I don't know, either playing or running the RPG?
Oh boy. See, my favorite part, I think it was probably just we kind of pared the adventure down, right? Like it was this huge scenario I think would probably take 4 to 5 hours normally, and it was they're exploring a building with a bunch of rooms. We really had like 4 main rooms in the entire thing, and I think I really like the build up the best. People get there, they sort of look around, they see that there's a puzzle to be solved. Really, a lot of people that gave everyone a really good chance to explore the characters. I mean, well, my favorite part of playing role-playing games is just kind of acting like a jackass, which it was fun. We had to do a lot of that, right? Like we had to joke around. People are doing funny voices or just doing some silly things, right? Like as they're exploring the room, people decided they wanted to just joke around a lot of the time, which I thought was great. It's a 2-hour demo. We kind of had to pull it in to make sure people are sort of hitting the rules that we wanted to focus on. Skills were a big part of it. Using their background abilities, that was a big part of it too. But putting up those challenges to get the puzzle solved and eventually get them into combat too. Like that was that was probably the most interesting part. Like where people could really explore and just have fun with it. But sometimes people would kind of get away from the point of the demo. But hey, it was a good time.
Mhm.
I think
So,
that's
yeah,
very
as,
dinner for RPG too. Is getting lost.
Yeah, yeah, really.
As GMs, I think one of the interesting things about being a GM, right, is that in combat, you are running the monsters, right? There's no AI,
Mm.
so it's kind of up to you, how much you want to mess with the players, to give them like a good, like challenging time, and deciding on what abilities to use, and just kind of keeping more information from them than they're normally used to, like playing the board game. So did you find that enjoyable?
Actually, that was pretty interesting because one of the demos on Saturday, I think it was like the second one, where we're about to flip cards and they're like, okay, we're going this. And they look over at me and it's like, yeah, you're going first. Oh, what are the monsters doing? And it's like, good luck. And just seeing his reaction to that. Oh, it's like, oh, we don't know. No, you don't. Like, okay. Are they the same as the thing? Who knows? Like, you can honestly, I know it gives you some advice like on what to say, and I actually did stick to the main 8 actions, but you don't have to. You could just make up whatever you want, and it would, as long as it makes for a good narrative. But for this purpose of not trying to, for getting people to have an authentic experience, I did stick to the 8 actions that all monsters that are assigned to those monsters. But I ultimately think that there's a lot of room as a design space for GMs.
Those, it's kind of, you stick to those 8 actions, or at least those are the 8 actions that are in the bestiary. But yeah, like any good role-playing game, like it's all about creativity and giving the keys over to the players. And yeah, if the GM wants to do something else, like it's the GM's game, they can do that. So that's interesting.
I think one of the things that I had heard back from some of the players was they enjoyed being able to make that narrative choice in the middle of, or near the end of the scenario, because you have to make a choice that, you try to save the character or you don't. And there were very different story arcs depending on what you guys what was decided. And some people going, yeah, I wasn't choosing my path ahead of time. I had to choose it right then and there. They enjoyed that aspect of it because it was like, no, this feels like something I have to, an RPG. Like, this is something I have to choose right now.
Yeah.
I can't choose my scenario first and take time to think about it. It's like, no, we're in the middle of combat right now. Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I also want to talk to Monica about cosplay. Did you have a good show?
It was a really good show. It was really hot. I can tell you. I had both of my fans on me. I was wearing Banner Spear the whole time. It was really fun taking selfies and snapping photos with the fans. And
do we want to? Sorry, do we want to switch over to the slideshow? We can kind of show some people pictures from Origins, but keep talking.
Oh, this picture here, we were at the party from by Foreteller. We were in a gelatinous cube, so the whole team was in it. And we look like we're having too much fun being inside a gelatinous cube somehow.
Wait,
but yeah, it's a good time.
How are you all inside a gelatinous cube? Was it like a big box or something?
It was a 7 foot by 7 foot by 7 foot big cube they made.
Oh wow!
Yeah, they made this cube. It was really cool, and then they had like a black light to make it look a lot more neon.
Yeah.
It was so creative. They had like fog in the venue. We were at the basement of Barley's when we had a party, and we had a lot of familiar faces there, including the entire team that came to the show with us. So a lot of the volunteers that we had came as well. So it was a fun time just hanging out with everybody.
Awesome. So is it like abnormally hot in Columbus in general, or was it just kind of?
It was hot in our area, like around the vendor hall. It was really hot, but then when you walk out, it was cold. And it rained a little bit, but it wasn't so bad. But yeah, like I had a thank you, Chris, for getting us the hotel room across the street because I had to cool off a few times.
That was an incredible location.
Yeah. It was great. That helped out a lot. I had to like turn up the air conditioning in the room so I could like cool off a little bit. But yeah, but I am making an update on my cosplay. So hopefully by SDCC, I get both of my copies of Banner Spear cosplay that I'll be making. And speaking of which, I will be actually doing a live stream on it July 10 and 12. I'll be talking about making the cosplay or remaking it rather, and making it because it's so worn out now. I've worn it for like more than a dozen shows now, so I think it's time.
That's awesome. Yeah, look forward to that. And you said you'll be at San Diego Comic-Con?
Oh yes, we will be. For the first time ever, Cephalofair Games will be at San Diego Comic-Con, and so far I think it's me, Bill, and Chris, and I think Ross will be there, but not necessarily. Stuff, like he has some other stuff, but
it's happening like right after the campaign.
Yeah.
Like this campaign ends on Wednesday, I think. I don't know. I have to pull up a calendar on the 19th, right? And then, the convention starts on the 20th, or something like that. It's like the next day.
Something like that. It's close.
So even if Frost is there, he's going to be exhausted.
Yes, probably. But I'm going to go on family vacation right after this campaign ends. So, unfortunately, I won't be able to make it out to Comic-Con, but maybe next year. It looks like it'll be a lot of fun.
I think you and the team deserve a long vacation after